Today, we are talking about our ideas for open enrollment. There is inherently an issue where eventually you're just going to have too many people to contact during open enrollment to grow. You're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck with whatever it is that you're capable of handling. Even if you hire support staff, you're still going to eventually end up being overwhelmed with too many clients. And some of you may be asking why. So here's the reason why. To do this correctly, to make your book of business be done ethically, taking care of your clients, unlike Medicare, where you reach out and you say, if there's some changes, let me know. ACA, you have to reach out to them. They need to come in and update their application every year. Even if their income doesn't change much, everybody's income changes a little, right? Maybe their Social Security goes up a bit. Every time there's a change, even a little bit, they need to update it. And even if there's no change to their personal information, their income's exactly the same, the tax credit changes. The rates change. The second cheapest silver plan maybe is a different company. So they need to do that to make sure they're getting the correct amount, because if they get the correct amount, they don't have to pay taxes back, right? But if they don't have that in there, they may end up having to pay lots of money back because they didn't get the right tax credit amount. So imagine yourself, if you're not already there, you have from November 1st through December 15th to touch, talk, and update everybody's application. There's so many hours in the day, right? And we do know we knuckle down, we work really hard during that OEP, but it doesn't matter how hard you work, you're still going to reach capacity. So I reached capacity, I guess 5 years ago or so, and I probably was beyond capacity. Some of you know my story. I had like 900 individual people that I worked with, and probably 600 of them applications with married couples, right? So I had about 600 applications on the marketplace that I had to do. And I went, I can't do this anymore, because I'm not just auto enrolling people. I'm not sending them the link with no explanation. I'm trying to help them. Now, obviously I didn't talk to all 600 of them. Again, only so much time, but I talked to a lot. And I was working till about 3 a.m, getting up around 8, and back-to-back appointments during the day, and then on my emails responding to people until 3 a.m. And I did that for quite a few years. That's not really sustainable. So I hired some staff, I hired agents. Well, now I have agents that are at that point. They're at capacity. Even with support staff, we still have to talk about it. So we have been brainstorming, how do we make this more manageable? How do we get our clients to take a little bit more responsibility and do it themselves, knowing that we're in the background? We will help them pick the right plan. We'll help them understand, hey, these are the changes in the plan. Because it is overwhelming when you log on to Health Sherpa or whatever, and there's 132 plans to go through, right? I mean, as agents, it's overwhelming. Imagine you're a client and you know nothing about health insurance, you don't really know how these plans work, and you just see that and you're just like, all right. And it happens every year. The client goes in, updates their application, they see all of those options, and they pick the cheapest. They're like, whatever. They go with whatever is the cheapest. And that's okay, because we keep track. We reach out to them and go, hey, I saw you picked this plan. In the past, this is the plan that you wanted, and the rate has changed to whatever for 2024, 2025. Would you like me to switch you? And I think 99% of them have said, yes, please. But they still did 90% of the work, right? So here are our ideas. I'll tell you how we've done it in the past. So this is what we call our traditional way of doing it. And it's only been that way for like 4 years. I host a class the last week in October. Everybody who's a client is invited. It's in person and virtual. I also record it and I can send it out. and I talk to them, I show them how to update their application on Health Sherpa. I explain, you're gonna get a link from Health Sherpa. Click this link. This is what it does. I mean, I literally walk them through. I show every step. And if they forgot their password, you just hit forgot password, creates a new one, log in. Their information is already there. I take way more time at the first appointment. We typically have an hour and a half for that first appointment, and then explaining in detail. We have front-facing screens so they can see what we're typing. They see the information is in there. So then we show them, hey, when you hit the renewal link, it's already there. You don't have to do anything, right? Oh, my address changed. Change your address. Oh, my income's changed. They update that information. They walk all the way through the application. So I'm showing them this in a class. And like I said, in person, Zoom, and recorded. Then I go over the plan's options. I do it by county. So I'll say, here is Fond du Lac County, here's Sheboygan County, here's Manitowoc County. If you're looking for this network, here it is. If you're looking for this network, here it is. I also record those in smaller segments. So my recording will be just Manitowoc County, and I send that to Manitowoc County people. They don't need to know all the other counties, right? It's a little bit, well, it's not a little bit, it's a lot of work on the front end, but it saves time. We just send that out to them. And Sam, if you can help me remember, how many classes do we usually do? 6? It's been a while. I think 6 in person.
We usually do anywhere from 6 to 9
live classes.
Yeah.
And they're full.
Mm-hmm.
Now our full is 26 people, unless we do Sheboygan County or Sheboygan at the chamber. we can put more people in there, but they're full, right?
Yeah.
And Zoom, not as many as I always think there's going to be, but it's also my rural area. So if you're in a city and you do Zoom, you're going to get more people. They're full, and people like that. But it's 3% of our clients come to those meetings. So how can we do this? And now this new CMS rules where they must, as agents, we have to go over the attestations every year. Now, I always did. That was never a big issue to me. But now we have to prove that they have received the attestations. If you are unsure what those attestations are, they're at the end of the application. The ones that say, I understand that if I am found eligible for CHIP, Medicaid, that I cannot be on the marketplace. I understand that if I'm on Medicare, I give them permission to terminate me. I understand that I'm filing, on the application, I'm filing as single, married, whatever, that when I file my taxes, it needs to match. Those are the attestations. We have to show proof, if we're doing anything on the application, that they saw those, signed it, that they acknowledge that they've got them. So now that adds a different layer of complexity. We also have to get consent. Now, consent is easy. We have written consent from every single one of our clients before they even come into the first meeting, honestly. We get that consent and it's just sitting there. The following years, all you need to see is them telling you the email that says, yes, please enroll me in this plan, or the piece of paper that they click saying, I want this one. Those are consent. And if you're not sure it's consent, ask, do I have your consent to enroll you in this plan? Yes, right? They're going to say that. Do I have your consent to update your income? They're going to reply back with that email, yes. Well, there's your proof of consent. Or it's a phone call, recording your phone calls. So just ask for permission. You don't necessarily have to send out that hard piece of paper or the link. You certainly can every single year. You just have to show that you have been given permission by that client to do it. So how do we make this more sustainable so that we can grow beyond 600 or 700 clients, and then we're like, I'm full, especially if you are also trying to do Medicare. So my first thought, now this is not going to work everywhere. So remember, I'm just telling you some of our thoughts. I will tell you after open enrollment how well they work. So you take this information and run with it and decide how to use it. My first thought when I was reading this is in my area, we have a company, an insurance company that's only in Wisconsin. They're a co-op that is 90%, or maybe we'll just say 75% of the market share. They're in that plan. They're with that company. This company, the Common Ground, has been around since the beginning of the Affordable Care Act. So they're extremely stable. Their rates do not change much. Their plans don't change a whole lot. You know, they get a little better, but it's nothing drastic. And 75% of our clients with that plan stay on that plan. Okay. So instead of having 75% of my clients send me their information again to update, how can I have them just say, yes, if Common Ground is still affordable and here's my income, I give you permission to enroll me. So we're going to come up with the document. We're still working on it and the wording. And I did talk to some people in regulations about this. That's going to send out the attestations, because they still have to click those, saying, yes, I read them and I agree or disagree, and signature. But saying, if Common Ground is still the best option for me to cover my doctors, and we'll have something that says, you know, my doctors are still the same, and my income is whatever, and it's less than a 10% change or something like that, we're still working on it, I give you permission to just keep me with Common Ground. That would probably reduce half of our appointments right there. And year after year after year, they stay with Common Ground, nothing's changed. So if we can get that permission from them up front, saying, if there's something drastic, if something weird has changed, we will let you know. But if nothing's the change, you don't need to come in. You don't have to call us. You don't have to schedule an appointment. So that's one option. Still figuring that out, and I am still going to run it past legal and some people closer to CMS than myself to see what they think about that. So that was option or idea number one. And Rosalind, you said, can we document attestations in writing? Yep, we use it with, which I've talked about before, we use Form Doctor. We actually created just an attestation page for, or that's all it is. Consent and attestation, or just attestation. So we send that out to them. It's a text message. They look online, they click yes, yes, or agree, and then they sign their name and we have it. And then we just change it for the next year, right? All right, we have 2024s. Now we'll talk about 2025. So it can be in writing, it can be a text. We really like Form Doctor just because of the ease of things. I know a lot of people on here have used Form Doctor. It makes things so much easier. There are some new AI things coming. In fact, that's one of my guest speakers that will be coming up. He's a company that's working with some AI and some of that contract stuff and attestations and consent where it's just automatic and will be put in. So he'll be one of the guest speakers. But there are some stuff coming where you won't have to have them in your office signing a piece of paper. So Jason, you want to know if we have an example of what that looks like? Yes, in fact, when I send out this meeting with the link to this, I'll actually put the link to our attestation so you can see it. Sam, I don't know if you can take a screenshot of what it looks like, and just stick it in the chat for those that are on right now. Recorded people, or YouTube, those of you who are watching by YouTube after the live meeting, I will have the link in the description. So you can just click on it and see what it looks like. And as long as you don't sign and submit, you're not sending me any information. So that's idea number one. Idea number two, and this was the 4 agents, myself and
You're
the
talking
3.
the attestations, right, Chris?
Yep, the attestations on Form Doctor. Okay. At least that's what I think you want, Jason, correct? If that's not what you want, let me know. Otherwise, that's what she's going to put in. So the other thought that we have is mass enrollment. I'm like, all right, how's this going to work? So there's 4 of us, so we're going to divide and conquer. But we sent out a survey asking people, if we come to you, because we have clients in other counties, would you be interested in bringing your laptop and we'll help you do this? The thought behind that is if I can spend 2 hours with 10 people, I just save myself at minimum 8 hours. maybe more. Have them all enroll together. So it's going to be a presentation. One agent will be at the front in, renewing our fake one that we have created. And the other agents will be helping. And we're going to have, power strips and the extension cords so people can just come in. They're going to plug in their computer and we're going to walk them through logging on to Health Sherpa. If it's Ensure that you're using, go ahead and do that, and help them page by page, walk them through. Because my guess is they're never going to have to do it again. Once they've done it themselves, they're good. Now, if I could get 20 people in a room, 20 people in 2 hours, it just saves us so much time. It's also a great way for us to invite people, or them, those clients ours that are not in our neck of the woods, to invite their friends and family and have not worked with us because they didn't want to drive that far, right? They wanted a local person. Well, we're thinking of being that local person. We're looking to see maybe we should have not necessarily a full brick and mortar, but a once a day, there's an agent in your area, maybe Medicare agent, maybe U65, maybe both. So we're going to go out to these the surrounding counties and have live classes. Bring your laptop, bring your tablet. We're going to walk you through this. Sam has gotten some of those surveys back, and the percentage, so, I don't know, how many did you send out? It was to everybody, right?
I think I sent out about 2,000 surveys.
So sent out 2,000 surveys, and how many surveys have we gotten back?
Probably close to 200.
So there you go. So there's our percentage, 10%. So if 5 people say they would like to do this, there's more that will do it, right? It's a percentage snapshot. If there's 3 people in a different county that says we'll do this, then to me it's worth it. Now I'm going to send out a postcard or a invite link through texting, however you want to do it, through email, and I'm going to make it sound like lots of people wanted to do it. Wow, we got great responses. We're so excited to see you all in person. We're going to be here, and we're going to go out there and we're going to pick 2 different time periods, maybe 3, morning and afternoon, and then after work for those people that are actually still working, and see, what's the worst that can happen? Nobody shows up. All right, I will still be sitting on my computer getting work done. I'll just be somewhere else. So this is just an idea, but I think it's going to work, particularly in the rural areas. It's particularly where people want to see a face. And if I can walk them through once, they'll be able to do it themselves next year. Now, as a team, we're doing this together. Like I said, we're going to split. We may do them at the same day, but 2 are in one county and 2 are in a different county. And we'll tag team. And if we find out there's only going to be 5 people at these 3 meetings, maybe 1 agent will do it. So still work in progress, still trying to figure out how that works. So that's option 1 or option 2, or idea number 2, I should say. Idea number 3 is an online Zoom class. You log on, Mr. and Mrs. Client, and we'll all do this together. But there is some logistics with that. They have to have 2 screens. So they need to have the screen that's their laptop or tablet logging into Health Sherpa. And then there's the screen listening to me or an agent live, show them how to do it. Which we've said, which to me makes sense to make it your phone, right? So use your phone to log on to this live Zoom link, and then we will be having you use your computer, your laptop, your tablet to work in. So that's why if somebody has 2 screens, they could do it. Most people do not have at home. Do not have home computers with 2 screens, unless they are like me, where I go home and I'm like, how did I ever use 1 screen? So that one we're still figuring out, but that way we can do live classes and have, again, heck, I don't care if 100 people showed up, pie in the sky here, but if 100 people showed up for a live Zoom class, and let's just say it took 2 hours, we just knocked out 100 people. And that's 100 people that won't have to do it next year. That's 100 people that, oh, okay, I got this. It's not so scary. And they still are our agent. And if they're doing it from their own Health Sherpa account, we don't have to worry about that three-way call. Now, CMS and everybody else doesn't really know how this new rule that they just put in is going to work during open enrollment. That's why we can't get a good, clear answer, because I don't think they know. Remember, this healthcare.gov website is the center of everything, and it's the oldest thing. It is a very antiquated computer system. It's quite old. Health Sherpa and Insura are bound and shackled to healthcare.gov. So whatever healthcare.gov does or says is what Insura and Health Sherpa have to do. No matter how fancy their programs are, there's only so much they can do. So they haven't really said, hey, when we start OEP and somebody comes in and they were a different agent and now they want you to be their agent, what does that look like? We don't know. But let's assume that's exactly the same one. It's the same person or the same issue where you have to do a three-way call. Well, if they're doing it on their own laptop, we don't have to worry about that. We don't even have to get attestations from somebody who's doing it themselves. Why? Because they're the ones who did it themselves. I still will probably send out those links and we'll still do some of that stuff just to make sure. But if they do their own application, you are not responsible for them reading the attestations. It's right there. Now, I'll do it on the live class. I'll read it out loud because I always read the words and then I explain what they mean. They're horribly written sentences. If you're not sure what they mean, there's no way your client knows what they mean. So I always read them out loud and then I explain what those attestations mean, what the reality of what they mean is. So that's one of the reasons we're hoping to make some of this go through. So I know there were some questions that came up. And Virginia, you said, just so I'm clear, we're not allowed to do their enrollment for them. Or if we get consent, we can. Absolutely, you can do the enrollment for them if you have consent to do it. So in the past, we would send out documents to them saying, hi, Susie, according to our documents, 2024, your income was $26,000 and 19 cents. Is this still the same? Yes. Would you like us to send you your options? We would send them their options. They would reply back, I want this one, the common ground, because we would run a quote or we'd get that ready for them and say, okay, option one is your current plan, updated for the next year. Here's two other options. They would reply back saying, I would like you to enroll me in this plan. And then we would enroll them. So yeah, you can do that as long as you have consent. And also during the year, by the way, somebody emailed you saying my income changed, my address changed, dependents changed, whatever it is. Go in, find out how that affects them, run a new quote with different dependents, run a quote with the updated income, reply back to them saying, okay, here's what I can do for you, and this is what it will change. Would you like me to do that? That's the consent. When they reply back and they say yes, there's your consent to go in and update their application. Don't update their application unless you specifically ask for it, right? So don't assume, clearly they're asking for our help. They want us to do it. Just get that consent. Would you like me to do that? Yes. Okay. Then you've got the consent. You go in there and then you reply back to them. All right, I did it. You got a bunch of emails from .gov. That was just me updating it, blah, blah, blah. So Jill, you said the issue with the attestation now is that we now have to get the client to review their application as well. I have been using the Health Sherpa link. How do you feel about that new feature? So I don't review the application. They gave me the permission to update, change, and I tell them this is what it is. So I don't think they have to, when I read it, that's not what I read. Now, with the new stuff going on where we have to, if it's a different agent, yeah, we finish the application, you got to call healthcare.gov with a three-way call, or you can send them the link, which we just did yesterday with somebody. And Sam, you can you saw what happens if the email link goes to them.
Oh, sorry, I was typing something. So that resume link, that's really nifty. So yesterday I worked with actually a girl in our office and I said, I'm gonna use you as my guinea pig. So I sent her that resume link and literally it was just click on the link and then it says, do you want a verification code texted or emailed to you? She clicked text, it texted her. She just had to plug in that code and then press enroll and she was done. That's literally all it was. And then the next screen that it went to, because I had her screen share with me so I could see it. And then the next screen it went to was exactly what you see on Health Sherpa on your end, showing enroll in this plan.
So use the link. Insurers got them and Health Sherpa, where you can just send that link to the client. If they're in your office, all right, let's do this right now. Hey, let's put this on your phone. Let's get this done. So use those links. They're really they're really swell. I'm going to use a 1950s word. They're swell. They do work pretty easily. And then you also ask, when I do my Health Sherpa stuff, I use my deceased uncle. Go ahead and just make somebody up. You don't have to enter the Social Security number, which means as long as you're not enrolling in a plan, nothing's going to happen. So it's one of my requests that I've asked. I would love it if they could give us as agents a way to make a fake account, but go ahead and make a fake account. Make, John Doe. I think one time I had John Doe, Mrs. John Doe, John Det, and Mrs. John Det Jr. or something, just make something up. Leave the Social Security blank. And then when you get to the end, you hit submit. As long as you're not trying to enroll them, it works just fine. Why can't Health Sherpa create a client-facing tutorial video that you could point your clients to? Well, you could, but if you use Health Sherpa to do that for you, Health Sherpa is going to get that client. The reason Health Sherpa allows us as agents to use their enrollment platform for free is because anybody can use it. So if you send them, and it's totally going to happen, you send them a tutorial from Health Sherpa how to do this, it's going to have a link to Health Sherpa. That person's going to go there. They're going to completely cut you out, intentionally or not. It's not going to be like, oh, well, I don't need him. They're going to just do it. And then all of a sudden Health Sherpa owns that client and they're getting the commission. So if you create that client-facing tutorial, then you can put your link, because we all have personalized links. And then, all right, if you want help or want to do it, here's the link. So then it clicks it and you're automatically the agent of record. So while it would be nice if Health Sherpa did that, I think it would actually be detrimental to those of us who are independent clients, because people don't realize, they don't see it. And Health Sherpa isn't necessarily going to show them where to put an NPN and how to get that NPN for you, so make sure you just do it yourself. Just practice. And just remember, if you're afraid, oh, I don't know how to do this, or I'm worried, what if I'm not doing it right? Practice it a couple of times. And remember, B+ is fine. It does not have to be perfect. Your people want you to be you. They're not looking for perfection. They're looking for an agent who cares. We live in a very different demographic. So if you record yourself, and you can do it, I mean, that's how I did it, right? I just searched, I'm like, how do I make my computer record me and my screen and all that? Eventually, I just started using Zoom links. I created my own email or my own meeting for myself. And then I recorded it and I did it live. So I don't have a PowerPoint. Well, I do. I do have a PowerPoint, and I also can do it live. So when we do these classes, we're going to do it live, but I also do a PowerPoint. My recorded classes are not my live classes or my recorded YouTube sessions that I send out to clients. The truth is, those are my practice. That's my practice before I do the live. And then I screenshot what's happening. I screenshot, what I'm doing for each client, or for each page in Health Sherpa. And then I put that in the PowerPoint. So use it as your practice. Just practice. I think pretty sure it was the first one. I recorded it. I sent it to Sam and I said, all right, I need you to watch this. And if I say the word more than 3 times, you tell me, and I'm redoing it because that's one of my biggest pet peeves is an expert who's so nervous that they can't just let there be silence. So record yourself, watch it, ignore the sound of your voice if you've never done it. I don't even notice anymore that it doesn't sound like me. I'm so used to it. But have a family member look at it. Have somebody you work with. Does this make sense? Did I do okay? And if they're like, okay, just record it again. It's just practice. Once you've got it, now you've practiced. This is how I practice for my live sessions. So I record first before I do the live classes, and then I can share those. So that's how that works for me. Yep.
Jill had something on the side here about our recorded calls. So we do have automatic recorded calls. The new app that we use for it automatically syncs with our CRM. So if you don't have one that can automatically sync with it, yes, get some sort of recording device on your phone. And then if you have to download it and attach it, but that way, yes, you have it. So that hopefully that answers your question.
Yes. So at this point, you should be recording your calls. All of them. I don't care if you have a tape recorder sitting next to you and you're doing it on speaker. You need to record your calls. It's protecting you. Believe me, you will want those calls recorded so that when your client comes back and says, you didn't say, or I didn't say, you can go, yes, you did. So Virginia, you said you don't use the Health Sherpa link. You use healthcare.gov? Absolutely not. I never use healthcare.gov.
Okay.
I use the Health Sherpa link.
I got confused when you said something about them having to add an NPN. I was like, wait, so which link do you use?
Either one. So that's what I was talking about. If you send somebody to Health Sherpa, they can just go to healthsherpa.com and then roll themselves. Okay. And if they don't click the button to add an NPN, they now belong to Health Sherpa.
Oh, so you don't want to use Health Sherpa. How are you doing? Then what do you do for
No. Healthsherpa.com. If you just go to healthsherpa.com.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's why I was saying you don't want them to show a client-facing program because then that's what's going to happen. When you send out the renewal link from Health Sherpa from your account, yes, you're automatically attached to that.
Okay, that's okay. I get it. I was like, thank you.
No problem. I have used healthcare.gov. I can't even tell you how many hours and hours and hours I have been at healthcare.gov and help clients do this. Not anymore. Navigators, just so you are aware, that's how navigators do it. Navigators do not use Sherpa or Insura or any kind of enrollment platform. They sit next to or are on the phone with somebody who creates their own healthcare.gov account, and then they walk them through that application. So that's how navigators do it. Navigators do not see what we see. I would highly recommend that you find who your navigators that cover your area are and reach out to them. Say, I'm just here as a resource. I am happy to help you with complicated ones. If you have a question and if you could help me, I would like to know, because they'll have resources that we don't have. I'm actually teaching a CE course I'm very excited about for Wisconsin navigators. And agents can also take these classes, but it's 80% navigators. And I'm actually talking about layering, accident policies and critical illness and things like that. Navigators can't sell that. They can't offer that because that's not what they do. But if you as an agent have a good relationship, you're showing them that, hey, I just want to take care of clients just like you do. And you have resources that I don't have. They have resources for helping people with high claims and medical debts that, reach out. So talk to your navigators. In fact, I'm very excited about that. If you go to your state and look up local navigators, usually with the Medicaid system, that's where you'll find it. And you can you can Google local marketplace navigators or health insurance navigators, but your state is the one who has those. So, and then it'll say this navigator for this area, this navigator for this area. Pre-COVID, back when there was the navigators at the beginning, navigators were in person. They met at public libraries. They were at the job resource centers. So they were very much reaching people that the average agent didn't reach. Low income, immigration people that are here legally, but they don't know. I mean, they don't speak our language, and our healthcare system's confusing to us, so it's even more confusing to those. So reach out to them and say, how can I help you? How can I be a resource for you? And ask them, is there something that you want me to know? So use navigators, because they don't have the stuff that we have. And then Jill, you said, if you do a fake application but don't enroll, how am I going to do a video updating an application? The applications are still there. Have you seen mine? I think you have. They're on the YouTube where I show how to renew it. It's there. The application still exists. As long as you don't enroll in a plan, the application is done. So you do walk the application all the way through and hit submit. I use our office's address for his address, so I get the paperwork. And then, of course, nothing happens, you know. In fact, I get 3 months of, hey, send us your social security number. I just ignore them. And then the next year I pull up that application and then I do it again. So it'll still be there. Do navigators ever refer to me? They did in the past when we had those face-to-face agents or navigators. We went out to them, we talked to them. It's been a little harder for the last couple of years because they're not, their phone. You just are calling a phone number and the navigators are doing it virtually or by Zoom. They do, if they are placed in a spot, they'll meet with people face to face. This year, though, I have been intentionally on the calls regarding navigators with my state. And that's how I found out about this continuing education summit, or whatever they're calling it. It's 3 days, it's half days. So it's from 8 to noon or whatever for 3 days in a row. And in my state, it's free for anybody, or they can contribute a few bucks. I asked them, they said it's 80% navigators and 20% agents. And I think it's because agents didn't know. They've been hosting this thing for years. This is the first time I ever saw it. Now, I sent out to everybody in my staff going, hey, let's get some free CE, sign up for this. And then I offered to teach class. And I was told, and I'm talking about layering, I'm talking about selling additional products. Now, the subject line is talking about not letting medical debt, how to help avoid medical debt. So I'm changing my topic a little bit, or how I'm talking about it, to navigators versus agents, by saying the number one thing you can do to still help with your medical debt is go get your annual. Your annual is going to catch things long before you are like can't breathe and need to go to the emergency room. So I'm talking about that, explaining the difference between a deductible and a max out of pocket. So you want to go to urgent care, not ER. So I'm starting off with that. And then I'm also talking about additional benefits that they can purchase, accident policies, cancer policies, and how those work. And then 2 navigators that I was talking to they're going to be my chairs were like, we've never even heard of this. I didn't even know that existed. I mean, I know it's in your job. So I'm going to say that. I mean, there's people that work part-time at places, a gas station in our area, Quick Trip offers all of that to part-timers. Take that, take that when it's offered through your job. And this is why you want to take it if it's offered through your job. So that's how I'm connecting. And the navigators are like, oh, I love referring to agents that I know are taking care of their clients for complicated. So you just have to get in with them. You have to find them. And that's how you'll end up being a resource for them.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I missed that part. Where you said you're having them on a board, or you went to their CE thing and then said, I want to partner with you?
No, I am going to be a presenter to this continuing education that they do in my state. So you have to reach out to your state, the Medicaid system. Reach out to whoever is a part of your Medicaid system and say, I would like to be involved. Do you guys have weekly meetings? Because that's what I do. I'm on a weekly meeting, and 99% of it is not actually appropriate for me. Okay, it's state people talking about how do they get people to enroll in the Medicaid system? How do they help them with the rollback? How do they find navigators? I'm just there as a fly on the wall, but then every once in a while they'll say something and I'll go, as an agent, this is what I see. And then they're all, oh, because they do kind of think that all agents are a bit unscrupulous under the call centers.
Oh,
And so I'm there to go, no, I'm not. And they actually, I just showed them, so I have 2 YouTube channels, right? Next Step has a channel for my clients, and then I have my aca-academy for everybody else. On our Next Step YouTube channel, I made quick videos. What's a deductible? What's a max out of pocket? What's the $0 deductible plan? I showed them this, the navigators, and they all went, oh, this is awesome. Can we start sending people to this YouTube page? And I'm like, absolutely. So sometimes you're just listening to them and it's not really talking about stuff that I can do, but then I'm there for when they need to. And then that's how I found out about this thing that they host every year, and it's free. Now, I'm an agency, I can afford to throw them a couple $100 for everybody, and then everybody's getting, I don't even know, but quite a few free, continuing education classes. So find that resource, ask to be a resource, but reach out to the Medicaid system in your state. And
So
that's how you're.
they only talk to Medicaid, right? Or they talk to everybody?
What do you mean?
The navigators,
Right, the navigators are anybody.
That's what I thought.
Anybody.
Okay.
Anybody who needs help. So they typically are talking to low income because that's where they're going. They're purposely trying to find the low income and the missed people. So they're usually in low income areas, the advertising, they're in high immigration, but somebody that makes 100,000 can talk to a navigator. It's all free.
Okay.
And you can, I believe, you can find the navigators on healthcare.gov.
Okay.
I will look for that link and send it out. But I know you can find the navigators on healthcare.gov because the navigators are a federal state program. And that's great. I mean, seriously, this is you when you find the navigator that's in your area, you can say, can I send people to you that I think should be on the Medicaid system? They're going to go, yes, please. Right. Because I can help them by having them in my office and I walk them through the application and I'm just helping them answer questions, but I can't log into that system like the navigators can. So navigators are an untapped resource. Don't view them as the enemy. Like, oh, great, they get to enroll people and they don't have continuing education and they're not contracted and they don't really know how this works. You can view them as the enemy, or you can say, hey, let's work together. Because again, there's so many people. There's more people that need insurance than there's people to help them get that. Well, we're almost at the top of the hour. Is there any other questions? Sam, am I missing anything on what we're trying to do for our OEP?
Other than, I mean, most of our CSR people aren't changing. So we kind of are trying to have an idea of, what you had said in the beginning of, are you comfortable with re-enrolling in this? Is your income changing and all that stuff, especially for CSR people? And trying to get our people that are transitioning to age 65, how that's going to work.
Yeah, so one of the things that we have run into, we've noticed, if somebody, either an individual or one person in a couple is turning 65, so in 2025, they're going to want to come talk to me, but they want to talk to me about Medicare. They want to know what's going to happen when my spouse goes on Medicare, what's going to happen when I go on Medicare. And so they're actually taking up my valuable resource time of an hour appointment to just for me to go, nothing, this will end on the last day of the month and your Medicare starts on the first of the month and it's still household income. And now I'm missing the opportunity to talk to a new person who needs me, or a current client who's just, whole life has changed. Maybe somebody died and their income is half and, all that kind of thing. So we are going to send out to anybody who's turning 65 in 2025, a request for them to go to the Medicare 101 classes that we host. We host them once a month. We have 2 classes on the second Tuesday of every month, or second Wednesday, at 10 and 5:30. So and this is a bit on our receptionist, and we're gonna have to pay attention. If anybody who's requesting an appointment is turning 65 next year, we're gonna say, can you please go to this class first? And then if you still have questions, let us know. Because seriously, 95% of those people were not worried or cared about the marketplace. They just wanted to know what happened when they went on Medicare. And in our Medicare 101 class is a couple slides explaining to them how it works when you're on the marketplace. So that's one thing that we're doing. Sam, as she mentioned, the CSRs, we kind of carve them out. We have people that have been a CSR for year after year after year after year after year. And they're always worried because they're low income and they want to make sure that it's okay and that, you know, they're not going to go bankrupt. Getting their permission ahead of time to just keep them in that same plan, because they've been in the same plan every year. That unless something drastic has changed, and I'm trying to figure out what that percentage is or what that drastic change is to make them do it, that they're giving us permission to do that.
Just put in the chat 2 links. So Virginia had asked what our forms look like. So I have one that is our general intake form or our general intake packet. And then the other one is the link from last year's open enrollment of what it looked like for us last year. So including the consent, income, and then those attestations.
Awesome.
And that was included in the chat with Virginia in case you don't see it. So yes, those are what we do. Again, I like Form Doctor because it's HIPAA compliant. It was actually made for doctors, not for agents. So they're very strict, and they have been very responsive. If you want a discount, they will, if you're not currently with them, and even if you are currently with them, you can actually go in and put this code in there. I sent so many people to them. They actually called me and they said, hey, we keep hearing your name over and over again. Thank you. We want to do something for the people that you're sending. So there is a 10% off coupon and the code is Chris George. They said, yes, we're being very creative. So it's KRISGEORGE. So it's just Chris George, small letters all in one word, and that will give you 10% off the Form Doctor. We started off pretty simple. It was the attestations and consent form. That's what started for us to pass down to with Form Doctor. Since then, the whole Medicare department's got their forms on there. We've put in a lot more forms. Our intake forms, our intake income, prescription forms, all on Form Doctor. And if we couldn't create the form really, really easy, it was worth it to have them create it. And my back end office for group, we're actually looking at getting some of our group intake forms. So highly recommend Form Doctor, but use something. And then check out the link.
Medicare department also has their scope of appointment on there. So I know that there's several people that do Medicare on here. And I don't know, we struggle sometimes with getting people to understand that we have to have those scopes of appointment, you know, so many days ahead of time and whatnot. As far as I can tell, it's really helped our Medicare department too. As people are getting older, they're just getting better. Maybe they can't use a computer, but everybody's got that phone. I mean, I've been an actual agent here for, 6 months now. And I would say 95% of the people that come into my office and sit down have used Form Doctor without any issue filling it out, even on their phone. So it's been helping a lot and making things really smooth.
Yep.
Right. Thank you.
And Rosalind, you want to know when we first make contact with our current clients for the renewal process, basically in September. If I wait too long, they get antsy. If you do it too early, then they start wanting information too soon. So it's usually the end of September. Yes.
Chris, real quick, I asked it in the chat, and maybe you addressed this and I missed it. Health Sherpa has the forms that you just click on and it emails right over to the client and then they sign it and then it's all in your Health Sherpa account. What do you think of those? It works really nice.
I want to have my own information.
You can get it and download it, I think, to your computer.
I could, but I already have my own. So I don't have a problem with it. If somebody wants to use that, there's plenty that use Health Sherpa kind of as their CRM. That's fine. But I'd rather, I'm one of those people that I want to have it in my hands. And so I click that I have my own document because I get it ahead of time. That's why I don't use the Sherpa ones, because we get that attestations and stuff before we even talk to them.
Yeah, that is a problem using that. It's going on while you're trying to do everything, and that is a mess. So, okay, yes. Got it.
So, yeah, not saying you can't do both. If you want to have your own and have Health Sherpa, but I want to be the one that knows where they are. I have them, you know, it's already part of it. So, and if I don't use Health Sherpa, or, you know, maybe I'll go to Insura, who knows, in the future, then I'm like, oh, I got to download all this. So I'm glad that they're doing them. Like I said, a lot of people are, it's getting faster, it's getting better. They're trying to do what they can to help agents. They really are. So those enrollment platforms, they want it to be smooth. Believe me, they do. So they are working really hard to have that not be the way it is. So, you know, try and give them a break a bit. I get the attestations before I meet with them. No, I get the attestations before they enroll. So it depends if they are enrolling, it's the last day of the month and they're like, I need coverage on 8/1. We might have that as part of it, but we're meeting them in person. We have a form that they sign right there in person. If we're meeting by Zoom, we're recording it, right? We're reading it out loud, or we have said, hey, I'm going to send you these really quick. And did you get that text message? Yes. Okay, open it up. I'm going to read them out loud, click it. So yeah, no, if they're brand new people, I don't get the attestations first because I do need to make sure they understand that. And so Marshall Watts is saying that, I mean, they're developing some CRMs. I mean, there's going to be some CRMs that are going to be pretty cool. So we've got somebody who he makes basically a custom CRM that we're talking to. So there's going to be some CRMs that are doing that. So any questions, shoot me an email. Otherwise, thank you so much again for joining me in Madison, Wisconsin. I will talk to you next week.